YouTube Niner Empire, what is going down? Welcome back to another video. In this video, I want to talk about some potential trade targets for the 49ers and who they could go out and get. Because obviously, I think all in all, the 49ers are not done when it comes to trades. I know John Lynch, one of the most aggressive general managers in the entire NFL. If there's one thing I know about him, it's that he is aggressive and he'll do whatever's necessary to better the team in the long run. Now, I think to start off position-wise, who the 49ers kind of need, what position they need to address the most, I think we can all probably agree on that the cornerback position is probably one of the weaker parts of this team. There's not a lot of weaknesses on the team. Some would say Brock Purdy. I don't think that's the case, to be completely honest. But all in all, I think the weakest part on the 49ers team are the cornerbacks. They're average at best. We don't have a bad secondary, especially when it comes to, Tashawn Gibson and Talanoa Hufanga. Those guys have been great all year. But in terms of weak parts of the defense or weak parts of the team, I think it's safe to say that the 49ers need to address the cornerback position probably over everything else. Now, when it comes to the cornerback position, obviously Charvarius Ward, Diamador Lenore, Isaiah Oliver are pretty much the three cornerstones to the cornerback position that the 49ers have. Now, Charvarius Ward being paid pretty much like a top corner in the NFL. When you look at his contract with the 49ers, he's being paid pretty handsomely to be their, cornerback one. Diamador Lenore has played better than him this season. He just has. They've both done great things, but all in all, Diamador Lenore has been probably the best cornerback for the 49ers all season long. And I'm not even trying to say Diamador's played great, because he hasn't. There's also been miscues on his game as well throughout 7 weeks of this NFL season. But all in all, Charvarius Ward, I think, has been the most inconsistent corner that the 49ers have had. Yes, he has, quite a lot of picks through 7 weeks and whatnot, but playing cornerback doesn't always mean getting interceptions. Charvarius Ward also let up, majority of Jordan Addison's 100-yard game last night. And he let up probably the most pivotal part of the football game when he let up that touchdown to Jordan Addison. Now, I must say, he did play Jordan Addison well on that play. Jordan Addison just made a better play. He took the ball away from Charvarius Ward. But really, in all reality, the 49ers need cornerback help, and they need preferably a straight-up elite cornerback one. No 49ers cornerbacks are elite. They're average at best. And now that we're seeing this defensive line struggle and not get as many pressures as they should be getting, now we're really starting to see, some struggles with the 49ers secondary. The 49ers, and I said this in the last video and in the post-game thoughts video, the 49ers rely on their defensive line to pretty much help our cornerbacks out. So what I mean by that is, obviously we know when you have good defensive line play, it makes the secondary's job much easier in terms of creating turnovers, just all in all, playing better defense, comes with having a good defensive line and defensive line playing well. And obviously through 7 weeks, our defensive line has been non-existent seemingly. They haven't played how they should be playing and things of that nature. But to start, first name I would throw out there for a potential trade target for the 49ers to go out and get is Bears cornerback Jalen Johnson. His price tag definitely just went up over the weekend. He had that pick six against the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, Jalen Johnson is probably the most realistic target for the 49ers to go out and get, aside from guys like Dante Jackson, who's probably a little bit cheaper in terms of price tag than Jalen Johnson is now. But either way, I think the 49ers going out and getting Jalen Johnson would be huge for this team moving forward. I think, with Jalen Johnson, he's a tall, physical corner. He literally fits the 49ers scheme exactly. He's exactly what Steve Wilks would want for this defense. He's exactly what Kyle Shanahan would want for this defense. So I think Jalen Johnson would be a very good target that the 49ers could go out and get. Not sure what his price tag would be. Not sure how interested the Bears are in trading Jalen Johnson. But the 49ers definitely could offer something that the Bears couldn't refuse. And they could definitely end up having Jalen Johnson before the trade deadline. Obviously, you guys know the trade deadline is the 31st on Halloween. So that is a week from today. So a week from today, the 49ers have until the trade deadline is here. And I genuinely don't think John Lynch is done, trading pieces and whatnot. So that's an interesting target right there in Jalen Johnson. Jalen Johnson would immediately come in and be our best cornerback. He'd be our cornerback one. And it would give us much needed depth at the position. Now, another guy, I mentioned his name, Dante Jackson. He is an unrestricted free agent in 2024. The Panthers don't know, I guess. It's kind of up in the air to see if they retain him or not. But obviously, Dante Jackson, very familiar with Steve Wilks' defensive scheme. They were with each other in Carolina before Steve Wilks took the San Francisco job. That's another guy who would be intriguing. I think out of all cornerbacks potentially available for trade, Dante Jackson would be the one that probably makes the most sense in terms of what the Niners would probably have to give up. That's another guy that would be intriguing. Again, familiar with the defensive scheme, gives us depth at the position, and would probably immediately come in and start for the 49ers. Now, here's a long shot, and this has been kind of talked about already, but third option would be Patrick Surtain. Now, it was reported that when John Lynch made the trade for Randy Gregory, he also inquired and asked about Patrick Surtain. He didn't inquire. I guess that's two different things. But he asked about the availability for Patrick Surtain, and it was reported that George Paton, Broncos GM, pretty much laughed and said, no, he's not available. So I definitely think Surtain would be available for the right price. I think the 49ers could easily give them, a deal that they couldn't pass up. But to be honest, you don't want to give too much up for a corner like Patrick Surtain. Yeah, he's arguably the best corner in today's game, but at the same time, when it comes down to it, Patrick Surtain is one of them players that he's still on a rookie deal, so you wouldn't have to pay him. I'd imagine he'll probably get paid after this season. But the 49ers, their defense, they do need cornerback help, but I think getting a guy like Dante Jackson would probably fill that void. But if they really wanted to take it to a next level, they could go out and get a guy like Patrick Surtain. To be honest, I would rather trade for Jalen Johnson. Jalen Johnson's price tag is going to be much lower than Surtain's is, or Surtain's would be. So those are three corners that I think the 49ers should target. I think the 49ers, without a doubt, need to target corner before any other position. I definitely think the 49ers could use offensive line depth as well. A guy like Garrett Bowles would be intriguing for a trade target from the Denver Broncos. There's a couple guys out there that the 49ers could target offensive line-wise, but again, the 49ers offensive line was bad against Cleveland, and it was also bad against, Minnesota last night, but we were also without Trent Williams, for portions of that Browns game, and then obviously he didn't play last night. So I think that really showed. We obviously seen what the 49ers offensive line has been able to do with Trent Williams. It's just the thing is with Trent Williams, he's an older guy. He's getting up there in age. You wonder if that has anything to do with him being hurt a little easier or whatnot. I don't know, but the 49ers need to get active, and they need to make another trade, or maybe even a couple more trades to kind of put the icing on the cake for this team before the trade deadline next Tuesday. So John Lynch is going to be active. I can guarantee you that. He's going to make necessary trades and necessary moves for this team moving forward. I think it really just comes down to he's probably asking what are some of the price tags on some of the guys that that he would like to go out and get. So we'll see what happens, but I definitely think 49ers need to target a cornerback in the trade market. And there's a lot of guys out there that could be potential candidates for the trade. So let me know who you guys think in the comment section down below the 49ers should trade for, or should they just roll with what they got now? Should they bank on the 49ers? Should they bank on the 49ers, just kind of getting shit together from here on out? I think the 49ers have always needed cornerback help. They've never really been a team that has had flashy corners, ever. Yeah, we had Richard Sherman a couple years ago, but he was obviously at the tail end of his career. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I definitely don't think John Lynch is done. He definitely should still be inquiring about, positions of need for the 49ers. So, again, we'll see what happens. I'll continue to keep you guys updated on the trades and news with that. I do know one thing. Guys like Danielle Hunter, Chase Young have also been names that have kind of been floating around out there for potential trades. John Lynch was talking heavily with Vikings general manager last night. It's kind of hard to say his name, Kwesi Adofo-Mensah. I think that's how you say his last name, but he came from San Francisco. John Lynch and him were talking an awful lot last night during the Minnesota Vikings pregame, or during the Vikings-Niners pregame. They were talking a lot on the field, so you got to wonder if John Lynch, mentioned anything about potential trades. Danielle Hunter would definitely be a guy the 49ers, for the right price, should go out and get. Our defensive line is loaded, but, Danielle Hunter, Javon Hargrave, Eric Armstead, and Nick Bosa is pretty good. So, we'll see what happens. I think it would be hard for Minnesota to trade a guy like Danielle Hunter, but for the right price tag, his name has been thrown out there, more than not. So, we'll see what happens. Again, I don't think John Lynch is done. I think he should get active, and we'll see what happens. So, 49ers will be players in the trade market. They should definitely target a corner. I think that's one of the only positions, or I think that's one of the main positions John Lynch should target if he's looking for trade. So we shall see what happens. But expect the 49ers to be players in the trade market before next Tuesday's deadline.